You have embarked on a sacred mission. You have been chosen to defend the realm of Earth in a tournament called... Sorry. Your world is like one of many realms. One of them's a forsaken land called Outworld. The fate of billions will depend upon you.
Okay.
Stance.
And welcome back to the Movie Hero Network, and this is Wheel of Movies, episode number 59. Tonight we are discussing 1995's Mortal Kombat in honor of the late, great Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa. I am Austin Pezhel, joined as always by Richie Goodacre. How's it going, Richie?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to talk about this. Mortal Kombat. One of the first video game movies I saw, and probably still one of the better ones. We've had good ones in the last few years, but it's still lots of it, a very corny but really fun sort of watch. And yeah, it's just going to be fun. And yeah, I feel like a lot of the corny fun ones are like fighting based games. So yeah, it should be good because in a year we're getting Street Fighter as well. So which I'm definitely. That is definitely one of the more anticipated movie because that looks bonkers. So yeah, well, it'd be fun to talk about.
No, we could definitely talk about the state of video game movies later, and also the weird coincidence that we in 1994, 1995 we had a Street Fighter movie and a Mortal Kombat movie, and now in 2026 we're also getting another Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter movie, basically the same year. So weird how things kind of roll around like that. But yeah, this is 1995's Mortal Kombat. Like I said, in honor of Cary Tagawa, who played Shang Tsung in this movie, probably his most famous role, I would say. The role he was kind of most known for, but the man had a very lengthy career, somewhat of a 40-year career as sort of an Asian American, character actor. You don't get a whole lot of those who get casted, in those types of roles, character actors. But he was a big part of my childhood in the 90s, Richie, not only from this movie, he's also in The Phantom. He shows up in the third act of that movie as Kev I Sang, one of my favorite movies of all time. And also one of my favorite Disney Channel original movies. I don't know if you've seen the movie Johnny Tsunami. It's one of the ones. Yeah, you should watch it sometime if you get a chance to. If you have Disney Plus, if you actually want to see a different side of Cary Tagawa, not playing like a bad guy or kind of a sinister guy, but playing like just a really fun surfer grandpa, and he's kind of awesome in that movie. He's really great. So I would recommend if you want to see a different side of him, check that one out. It's fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, I put that for a bit there. I'm just saying, ironically, it's kind of funny because he also he plays Heihachi in the Tekken movie, which is a big deal in that movie.
Yeah, in both Tekken movies. Yeah, he shows up in Balls of Fury for a minute. He's in Showdown in Little Tokyo. Yeah, he was kind of all over the place, and I think probably his more famous kind of role in the last decade or so, he was on that Man in the High Castle Amazon show. He was he was one of the representatives for the sort of Pacific Front. So but yeah, the man had one heck of a career, and we're here to celebrate him because he's a lot of fun in this movie. He eats up this role so much so that every incarnation of Shang Tsung since then is kind of just doing him, and I'll talk about how they even brought him back in one of the games. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, so I'll get into the facts in just a second. Maybe we'll just start off with a brief back history. Richie, both your history with this movie and maybe even your history with the Mortal Kombat video game franchise as well.
Yeah, so I became like big fan of like Mortal Kombat because one of my favorite sort of genres of video game was like just fighting. And I was more, I think I was probably more my first favorite fighting game was Tekken 2, but then I went back to Mortal Kombat, and then I guess I was it was revolutionary at the time because that's the first one that had like full on like blood and all the fatalities and the all that sort of the creative stuff. And so and then I kind of got swept up in that, and then when there was a movie, watch that, and then I might have actually watched Annihilation first, which is not a great way to go. And then but I watched all the funny movies. So I watched watched Mortal Kombat, watched watched Annihilation. There's also like we'll get into the animated movies as well that have come out sort of semi recently, which is okay. Watched them. I watched Street Fighter, which is also kind of a guilty pleasure. Yeah. I also played Street Fighter, the game, the movie, The Game, which is a real. I was I still get all the Mortal Kombat games that come out. I think they're doing I think they're doing a redux of like they're releasing a collection or something this year, so probably pick that up. I still get all the Mortal Kombat games, play them, but it's just generally a franchise that I'm always keen on. So even if the movie looks bad, I'll go and watch it. It's been that's sort of my experience with Mortal Kombat.
And as far as me, I did play it mostly in the arcades. I did have okay, easy there, Richard. Yeah. Mute yourself while you're doing that. So I mostly played it in the arcade game. The arcade game in the arcades. I didn't have a Super Nintendo or a Genesis myself, so I do remember playing Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo, at various friends' house, and then I did have a copy of Mortal Kombat 2 on my Game Gear, which was a little hard to play because there was only like 2 buttons, really, instead of like 4, so it was a little harder to do stuff. But I did beat it a couple of times, at least on that one. And then and I eventually I was a PlayStation guy, so I had the original PlayStation, so I got way more actually into like the Tekken games. I know Tekken Tag Tournament was my jam. I played the shit out of Tekken a lot. Yeah, that was for my money like the best Tekken game. That game ruled. But I did have the Mortal Kombat trilogy that they put out for the PlayStation, the one that had the first 3, all in one. So I did play a decent amount of that. And then this movie, I don't think I saw it in the theaters from what I can remember, because I know the first time I saw them, I'm pretty sure, was at a friend's house, a guy who had HBO, and they recorded movies off of like HBO all the time. So he had like a whole wall of like recorded off of HBO via blank tapes that he had written on. So I know one afternoon I think we watched this and Annihilation because he had both recorded on HBO, and I had never seen them because I missed them in the theaters. I remember I was watching him, but we had played a bunch of the games at his house, so I was familiar with all the characters. And when you're like 12 or 13, Annihilation was cool too because it had all the characters in it, But then obviously you get older and you're like, oh, this movie's not great, not amazing. So,
what's been missing in like games and stuff? Because I think obviously the Tekken and Mortal Kombat are still going today, but like you can't like. What I like about Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 and like some of the earlier Tekkens is like you would go through the game, beat the boss, and you could unlock a character. You're like, oh, what character did I unlock through? did it through my journey, and then obviously also everybody had like their own their own sort of move end clip at the end, the movie clip at the end.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
but yeah, I think that's gone because you're just like, oh, the DLC is out for this, so you just download the characters now. You're like,
Right. Yeah.
accomplishment. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Although at least nowadays, if you play, the new Mortal Kombat games or Injustice or any of those things, they do have like almost like mini movies woven throughout them. So they'll do like, like these these storyline things, and they'll like lead into the fights, and whatnot. I just remember like I played, I think it was Injustice on like the PS3 or something like that, and I just could not get past like one fight, and I was like, I'll never find out how the story ends. Like I'll have to go on YouTube and watch the the cutscenes later, on there. But yeah, what they do now I think is cool because and that'll lead me into a little tie-in with when they brought back the cast from this movie into Mortal Kombat 11, which you can actually go and online and see all the kind of little character intros and the cutscenes and whatnot. But Mortal Kombat 11, they brought back Cary Tagawa to do some Shang Tsung voiceover stuff. They brought back Lyndon Ashby. They brought back Bridget Wilson, and they brought back Christopher Lambert even to do Raiden stuff. So I think the only one who didn't was Robin Shou, I guess, because of like a scheduling issue or something like that. But yeah, they brought back like most of the cast of this movie for that game, which I know the fans were pretty excited about. And yeah, Cary Tagawa, you could tell he was a little older, but they also made the character look older. They made the character with more like gray hair and like a long gray Fu Manchu beard and all that kind of stuff, which is fine because Shang Tsung is like older as a character mostly in the video games. So he's a little bit younger in this movie. But I think Cary does a good job in this movie of carrying the character like he's been around for 1,000 years or whatever, for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. I also appreciate that because, we're in that world, we're in an era where like, like any person in pop culture could pop up in the game, like, with the Fortnite and stuff. But like, in the latest game, you can download Freddy Krueger. You can play as Freddy Krueger. I think Ghostface is in one of them.
Yeah, like Predator, Alien, Jason, Leatherface. They've had like the T-1000, they've had all kinds of different horror. They've had John Rambo, all kinds of like Spawn, all kinds of. And the Spawn one was cool because, and some of those, to their credit, to the Mortal Kombat credit, and how big those games are, got like original voice people. When they had Rambo in the game, they got Sylvester Stallone to do the character intros. For that game. Like you can go on and look at them. When they got who was it? They got Spawn. They got Keith David, who voiced him on the animated series back in the day, so that was cool. They've got they did RoboCop and got Peter Weller. So Peacemaker lately, they got John Cena to do all the Peacemaker intros. So I mean, give them credit. Like that franchise has enough clout, I guess, to get even original actors, which is pretty dope, actually.
People will just jump at the chance to do it, but a lot of people now like who voice the characters grew up with the show, so they're just like sick. Or like at least know how iconic the show is. Like okay, I'll do that. So it's fun. And then you had it's interesting. I think Ronda Rousey voiced Sonya at one of the games. At one of the games. So which is interesting. But so there's definitely been. I think it is probably the. I mean, it rivals Street Fighter for it, but I would say it's one of the most famous fighting game of all time. Right?
It's definitely like top 2 or 3. Yeah, most as far as like globally known worldwide. Yeah, if you ask the average person on the street to like name 3 fighting games, Mortal Kombat will be one of them. I could almost guarantee every time. Yeah, that and Street Fighter will probably be, Tekken might be the third one, but
Tekken might be the third one. They might. Like Tekken's less so. What they might say Tekken. They might. I mean. Yeah, Tekken's probably more famous than Dead or Alive, but Dead or Alive's like number 4.
I would think the next one after that might be like Soul Calibur is pretty big, and like Soul Calibur in Asia is pretty big, so like that might be like maybe one of the next big ones. But yeah, I mean, I would think if I had to hazard a guess, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are the two most famous fighting games of all time. Just for longevity's sake, for pop culture, having movies and TV shows and DVD movies and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would think so. For the most part. Yeah, and the fact that we have a Mortal Kombat, like I said, and a Street Fighter game coming out this year, I think is a testament to the longevity. So 100%. But yeah, getting back to this actual movie, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. This is his debut theatrical film. He
was just Paul Anderson on this.
Just Paul Anderson. Yeah. But yeah, this is his kind of theatrical debut. He said he kind of BS'd his way through his resume to try to get this job because he didn't know a lot about special effects and whatnot, but he kind of learned on the job from what he said. And, I like most of his early stuff. This Event Horizon, I really like. Even the first like Resident Evil to a degree. He's got some decent stuff there. And then, he just went off on like Resident Evil and Mila Jovovich tangent and I haven't really been on board with a lot of stuff since then because I don't like most of the Resident Evil movies. They just don't work
So, I mean but yeah, he started off all right. You could tell. I've seen interviews. You could tell he was a fan, which is always good when you get someone on the project that's not a given usually. Sometimes, like we talked about, like the bit person who did the recent Halo TV series just randomly admitted in an interview that they didn't play the game. So I don't know why. I think you should keep that quiet. But like at least he was a fan, and I did like some of the earlier stuff. So that's good. Sometimes people you frown upon them, but sometimes bullshitting your way through things gets you jobs. I mean, Paul Heyman, he bullshit his way through like a big career. Sometimes it works out.
You gotta fudge your resume occasionally. Yeah, it's fine. I get it. August 18th, 1995. This movie gets released.
That's my birthday.
Is it? Okay.
I would have been six.
Okay. Hey, well, and technically, you probably could have seen this movie. It was PG-13 over here in the United States. So, I mean, one of the criticisms of the movie, I guess, at the time was that it wasn't like an R-rated movie without, the movie without blood, and one of the criticisms, I guess, still going back to it. But, I still think the movie works, without like, all the fatalities and whatnot. But they work their way around it the best they can. Budget of $20 million and a box office of $122 million. So it was a hit. This movie made money for New Line Cinema, putting this one out. It spent 3 weeks at number one, so that's pretty impressive for a movie like this. So nice to them. A little background, some casting stuff. Robin Shue was one of the people who auditioned for it. Jason Scott Lee also auditioned for it. Another one of the guys around this time. And obviously they looked at him because he played Bruce Lee in that Dragon the Bruce Lee story movie. So I think he would have done an okay job had he got casted. But Robin Shue impressed them in the audition. He was a real life wushu champion, so he's a legit martial artist in real life. So he was able to get it, and he was also had a background in stunt work and fight coordination. So he actually did some fight choreography for a lot of his own fights as well. So they give him a credit in the credits as like an associate, fight choreographer, things like that. So the actual fight choreographer is a guy named Pat Johnson, who's a pretty legendary Hollywood fight coordinator. He did the fight coordination for Enter the Dragon, for the Karate Kid, for the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, this dude has a hell of a resume if you go look it up. Quite a bit of stuff. So he's done quite a bit, and the fights, in this movie are pretty good for the most part. I mean, that's one thing I think they do pretty legit in this movie. Is I think they got a lot of legit martial artists, and I think it's on the screen. So kudos to them.
I appreciate that. That's what That's one thing you can't like mess up in a Mortal Kombat movie. Is you have the fight. You could have the combat look cool, and for the most part, I think it does. So it kind of goes away in Annihilation, but hey, for this one, it was good.
and I think the casting for the characters is pretty spot on for the most part. Robin Shue, looks like a Liu Kang. I'd buy him. The original Sonya Blade, Cameron Diaz, was casted She was casted and ready to go. She got injured in the audition process. She injured her elbow, and then she, had to drop out because of scheduling issues. After that, they got Bridget Wilson, but she was coming right off of the set of Billy Madison, and she literally after the last day of filming on Billy Madison had to fly right to Thailand and get to filming on this movie. But to her credit as well, she didn't have much of a action background, but to her credit, did most of her own stunt work and her fighting. So actually, like for instance, in the Kano fight, she does pretty much that entire fight, and you can tell it's her. So kudos to her for putting the work in. I appreciate that.
Because if it was Cameron Diaz, like it's would have been one of her first films. Like she did The Mask, which would came out around the same year.
Mask would have come out the year before, so yeah, it'd be very close though, very very close.
Yeah, and she looked a bit different. Like she get like wasn't long until she got a bit of work done. So I could kind of see her as Sonya Blade, but but yeah, no, I think Bridget Wilson does a pretty decent job here. I don't think she does much after this, does she?
She was in, a couple of movies after this, but yeah, she only worked up until about the early 2000s because before this, she had been in obviously Billy Madison, Last Action Hero as well. But yeah, after this, she's in I Know What You Did Last Summer, House on Haunted Hill, The Wedding Planner, and Shop Girl, and that's about it. And then she married Pete Sampras, the famous tennis player, and that's it. She did much after that. So
you got a lot of money coming in, and good for her.
Yeah, I mean, her Wikipedia kind of basically her career ends in the mid 2000s. There's not much on her what she did after that. I assume she had 2 kids with Pete. Maybe she just became a stay-at-home mom while Pete played tennis. I don't know. Yeah,
why not? Why not? So, when you got money, why not? If you got
so yeah, that's what she's been up to. Robin Shou, by the way, has been a steady kind of character actor here and there, but this is kind of his most famous thing because he did this in like Beverly Hills Ninja. That was about it. He's in some of the Death Race movies, which Death Race was also directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. So it makes sense why he's in that movie. But he plays a very minor role, and that was one of the drivers. Lyndon Ashby, who plays Johnny Cage. He was just kind of a young actor who didn't have a lot, but he had a good audition. He had a martial arts background, legitimately in Taekwondo and karate, so he's able to show that off in the audition and kind of look the part. He's a good looking dude, nice chin, kind of looks like a movie star. So he did get the part. By the way, he's also from where I'm from. He's from Jacksonville, Florida, and I have a story about that. He grew up in Jacksonville, and I got a chance to meet him back in like 2009 or so. I believe he was debuting a horror movie he was in, a horror film. I believe it was called Hunger. 2009 Hunger, kind of a direct-to-video horror movie, but they did a debut at a local theater called Sunray Cinema I used to go to a lot. So I went to it. Now, unbeknownst to me, the story goes like this, Richie. I was sitting in kind of the back row of this theater, and I'm sitting in the back row, and I started talking to a lady next to me, kind of an older lady, and we're just making small talk, making chit-chat, and I didn't know who she was. Lyndon goes up to the front. He does kind of an intro, sort of an introduction to the movie, tells a little bit about why he's here. He grew up in Jacksonville, et cetera, et cetera. Hope you enjoyed the movie. He walks around, comes to the row I'm in, and looks at me, and in a jokingly way goes, "Hey, partner, you mind if I sit next to my wife there?" And I went, "Oh shit, that's your wife? Okay, cool." So I said, "Yeah, absolutely, Lyndon. If you'll sign my Mortal Kombat DVD," which I had in my cargo pocket. And he goes, "Yeah, of course." And I yanked it out. He signed it. So I do have a Mortal Kombat double disc DVD that I still have, signed by Lyndon Ashby. And I talked to him even afterwards in the hallway and just kind of yapped with him after the show. We were just talking about different stuff about Jacksonville, and I did ask him because at the time he was not doing. I think he's done a few since then. He didn't do conventions, and I was wondering. I was like, "Well, bro, like." even if you just go just with the cred of you being Johnny Cage from the Mortal Kombat movie, I think you could do all right at conventions. You know what I mean? Signing the movie, signing posters, signing video games, whatever the case may be. And I think he has done some since then, but not a ton. But I think he hadn't like kind of embraced it at the time. But since they kind of got him back for the video game and some things like that, he's kind of re-embraced it. So, but yeah, again, not he was kind of a steady working actor, mostly direct-to-video stuff. His most famous credit since then, Richie, was he had a main role on the MTV Teen Wolf series. I don't know if you've heard of it or seen it, but he was the main sheriff. He was the sheriff on that show, but it was a role where he was in every episode. So that was probably his most famous credit since. And he was on a good chunk of he did some soap operas. He was on The Young and the Restless, and a couple of soap operas here and there. So still a steady working actor though. So good on most of TV.
I went to check because obviously they've done those the animated movies, Mortal Kombat Legends. I went to check if he voice it's actually, but no, it's actually John McHale that does the voice on the
John McHale. Yeah.
But I could actually. I mean, if he was a bit younger, I could see John McHale doing that character in real life.
Sure. Yeah. For sure. So so that's kind of the main cast. Christopher Lambert was casted. It was offered, by the way, a weird Highlander connection. It was offered to Sean Connery at first, kind of like a lot of movies get offered to Sean Connery, but he turned it down and moved on. And Christopher Lambert accepted the role and apparently was super cool on set. Like very, very cool guy, cool actor. He I think even when he was done filming, he hung around on the set and bought people dinners and stuff. He threw like a final after party or something for the cast. Apparently everybody has nothing but good things to say about him. Said he was super cool. So
I can't see Sean Connery in that role. I don't know if
I can't see that either. Yeah, I don't know. I could see him like taking it way too seriously or something, or just being kind of out of place, I guess.
Yeah. And then they replaced Christopher Lambert with what was it, James? Was it with in the sequel?
James Remar in the sequel.
James Remar, who's I know from he was in Dexter. He's Dexter's dad.
He's also in The Phantom with Cary Tagawa. I love James Remar. He's a great character actor, but he's kind of out of place in that second movie. It just, you can see he doesn't really kind of know what to do with the role. Lyndon Ashby didn't come back for that one either. If you notice, it's the guy from the next Karate Kid and Airborne that shit.
And they kill him off straight away.
They kill him off almost immediately. And then Bridget Wilson didn't come back. It was another girl playing playing Sonya. So, Robin Shue and Talisa Soto are kind of the only ones who come back, for that one, unfortunately. So, I mean, we could talk about that sequel kind of at the end if we can get into it just a tad. A few more notes and we'll get into the movie. The Goro animatronic, and I know it looks a little goofy at times, but hey, I'll give them credit in 1995 for trying to make it real instead of some like really bad CGI in 95, as there is in this movie. There is some bad CGI in this movie, but full credit to them for trying to make it like as real as possible. It was a real animatronic. It cost $1 million to make and took anywhere from 13 to 16 people at a time to operate. So it took a lot of people. There's one guy who's in the suit kind of controlling the face and whatnot, and he could only do that for 2 minutes at a time because he couldn't breathe very well in that thing. But otherwise, to make them move the arms and whatnot, it was just a whole animatronic kind of puppeting process. Kind of a crazy thing there. But again, credit to them for trying to make it real. I can always appreciate that, even if it looks a little goofy, for what it is. So I mean, nowadays, they just make it CGI. So I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I always liked Goro. I always liked to play as Goro. And then there was that chick too. She's in it, but there was a chick Goro.
Shiva.
Yeah. I always liked playing with them. But they were cool. It blew my mind as a kid. I'm like, oh, this guy's got 4 arms.
Yeah, no, and I think he has a good role here as kind of a pseudo boss. It's pretty fun. But box office, August 1995. Running down some of the movies at your local multiplex. You got Waterworld, the Kevin Costner movie, actually doing pretty well. Dangerous Minds, with Michelle Pfeiffer, where she's kind of the teacher in the inner city. You know that old trope. There was a bunch of those movies in the 90s. You got Mortal Kombat was third highest grossing of the month. Something to Talk About, which I've never heard of, but a movie around that time. You got Babe, which would be nominated for Best Picture that year. The Net. Remember The Internet with Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock, one of her early roles.
Yes. Yeah, that Net. You got the Keanu Reeves film, A Walk in the Clouds, which I've never seen, by the way, but you know,
I know the cover. I've seen with the cowboy hat on.
No, I've seen the cover a million times, that poster, but yeah, I've never actually sat down and watched the movie. Apollo 13 hanging around from earlier in the summer, still in the box office. Virtuosity, the Denzel Washington movie. He had a couple of weird movies around that time, and Clueless in theaters as well. So kind of a mixed bag, you know, a few ones we still talk about, you know, a few not so much. So
it's weird you say that, you know, obviously, yeah, like in normal movies, like Waterworld did do well, it still bombed hard because of how much they spent on that movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I said, this movie was a hit though, so good on them. But yeah, let's get into it. So you know, we kind of start off, we got kind of little bit backstories for each of the characters. They each kind of get their own little, you know, intros, but we can't be amiss without saying the movie starts off straight off with the song, which is still a kick-ass song, you know, to intro. You know.
I actually appreciate that it goes straight. Like you don't see like credit. You don't see really see opening credits. You just see Mortal Kombat. Boom, we're in.
Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun. It is a good way to get you like hyped for the movie. Like you put on this movie and you're like, all right, let's go. Like, yeah, let's get it rocking. And it's a great song and a great soundtrack, by the way. The score and the soundtrack, I think, for this movie are both great. Like even the bits of the score, I think, you know, really work as well, kind of, you know, in the different parts. But yeah, the soundtrack is a lot of fun. I had the soundtrack on CD. I definitely did. The soundtrack, from what I read, the soundtrack within the first 2 weeks went platinum. It was a very big selling, very successful soundtrack. Yeah.
And there's a UFC fighter called Curtis Blades who walks out to the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I always
yeah. So we get the intros kind of for each of these guys. The first thing we see actually is Chan, Liu Kang's brother, who you know, is for whatever dumb reason trying to fight Shang Tsung, and quite unsuccessfully so, because you know he does his best, you know, God bless him, but Shang Tsung pretty much kicks his ass very handily, you know, right from the first punch that he lands. He breaks his back, and yeah, he right from the beginning. I love Cary Tagawa in this role. Like he's chewing scenery, but like in that great villainous way, you know, to where you're just kind of smiling, like, yeah, that's what I want out of like a video game villain. I mean, he literally. Who's he looking at when he holds up Channing and points and goes, "Your soul is mine"?
Yeah, you know, breaking the fourth wall. It's like you're talking to me.
Yeah. Who's he talking to?
I appreciate actors who know what movie they're in. He knows what movies he's in.
He knows he's in a video game movie. He knows he's playing an over-the-top video game character, but like he's not like hamming it up to a degree. He's just playing big, you know what I mean? He's like owning that this guy is like a big, like, you know, magic sorcerer guy, you know what I mean? He's playing it up like he's a video game boss, you know, as he should, you know what I mean? I think he knows exactly what role he's in. He knows what movie he's in. He knows the tone. He knows he needs to be like to play it up and be fun. And yeah, to this day, I think he's still you know, people love this role for him. You know, all the different things he's spitting the video game lines. You know, Sub-Zero has that one kind of not even really a fight with the guy in the dining hall. And he does the flawless victory. You know, yeah, and you know he does his own fatalities and says fatality afterwards. You know, when he sucks the one black guy's soul out, he goes fatality. Like it's I mean, you know, he knows what he's in, man. He's like. deliver it, go over the top and be crazy, and he does, and he's great. Well, he's fantastic.
Yeah. No, it was great. It's it's basically it's Shane's it's his film, and then they're just ancillary character around it.
Yeah, right. I think Christopher Lambert knows exactly what movies he's in too. He looks like he's having a good time, for the most part. Like he's kind of hamming it up too, but I think again he knows he's in like a video game movie, and I think he just decided he was going to have some fun, and you can tell he's going to have some fun. A lot of his scenes, but yeah, we get Liu Kang. So yeah, his backstory is that his brother was killed by Shang Tsung, so he kind of wants revenge, and the way he can get revenge is to enter the tournament. He's kind of haunted by it, and Raiden knows he's kind of the chosen. It's kind of a Matrix thing. Like Raiden knows he's the chosen one, but won't tell him, that he's the chosen one. Things like that. He's Neo in the Matrix, but he doesn't know it yet.
Which is ironic because obviously the Matrix connection with Sean Connery is supposed to be playing Raiden. He was also supposed to be in the Matrix.
He's supposed to be Morpheus in the Matrix, also. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of connection there. But yeah, Johnny Cage, we see him get a little intro. He's obviously filming some kind of action movie. Has a little fight scene where he's taking down sort of one henchman after another. And yeah, the one guy won't go down. He punches him down. Punch, kick. This is the part where you fall down. Oh, come on, where do you get these guys? That's great. You can tell he's on some crummy action movie set that he doesn't want to be on. He's taking for the paycheck. By the way, fun fact, the director guy that's up in the little crane thing that's begging him to come back, Johnny, come back, Johnny, was originally supposed to be Steven Spielberg. It was supposed to be a cameo. New Line actually had enough clout to where they were going to have Steven Spielberg. It was kind of scheduled, and then the scheduling, from what they say, got bogged down, and Spielberg had to drop out at the last minute, so they just had to get just a kind of for hire actor to do it. But that's why even the guy kind of looks like Spielberg. When you look close, he's sort of got a similar sort of beard. He's wearing a hat like Spielberg, things like that. So it's supposed to be him to a degree.
Yeah, no, that would have been great. Yeah, just like it's I think his introduction's cool because you get that you get that he's like an action star, but maybe not in his maybe he's been in higher profile films beforehand, and now he's just collecting a paycheck. But he's also he's also big enough that he's still kind of prima donna about things.
No, he's still like probably getting paid enough, but he's easily the biggest star in each of the movies he's done. He's the only star in the movies he does. And he's not working with higher caliber directors and actors, obviously, things like that. So he's taking whatever you get. And to be fair, to what it looks like from the trailer we got for Mortal Kombat 2 so far, it looks like they're playing the Carl Urban character of Johnny Cage kind of similarly from that bit at the beginning where like a guy like has a poster and it's like clearly a younger version of him, and he's like, oh, that was another lifetime ago or something, like he's a past his prime action star, you know what I mean? Like he was a star 15-20 years ago, and he just isn't anymore.
Which would fit Carl Urban's age, is like what, mid-40s?
And that's what I'm saying. At least it makes sense to where they're playing him where he's older and he used to be like a bigger action star is kind of how they're playing it. So I mean, it makes sense, and he's kind of the same character here. So still capable, but maybe in the timeline of this movie he was probably an 80s action star, so kind of like Van Damme, which they wanted Van Damme for this movie, by the way, because the character is kind of based on him in the video game, but he was still doing reshoots on Street Fighter, so they couldn't get him.
I can't do that if I'm doing another video game movie.
And I don't know how Van Damme would have been as Johnny Cage, because like again, his English is not the best. So like with him delivering, let's dance, like this, the part where you fall down.
Belgian act, like, I don't know, like Johnny Cage, he's meant to be like American. It'd be a Belgian, it'd have a Belgian accent. It'd be, I don't know, a bit distracting, I think. I don't know. I think having someone who lives internationally would be, actually would be kind of better. But I don't know. Just trying to think of like an action movie equivalent person who's sort of doing that stuff now. I don't know, but yeah, I know. I don't know. Maybe color would be alright, but yeah, I think maybe Jean-Claude Van Damme would be too distracting. I think maybe he's limited in what he can do, so you just gotta. Yeah, I think what he did in Street Fighter is what is what the best way to use him. Just like he's just the guy who kicks ass. You don't give him to. He's not like he's charismatic, but not in the way Johnny Cage is. The character is.
So you never know how accurate these things are, Richie, but they say that the other people that were quote unquote considered for the role, which you're never really sure if like you can consider the considered thing always kind of makes me pause for a second. Like, oh, we wanted this person, but was it ever feasible? Did they ever actually come in or have any serious talks? Because the other people, I guess, that were quote unquote considered for the part of Johnny Cage and were Gary Daniels, who's a legit like kickboxing champion, things like that, turned actor, but he'd only done kind of direct to video stuff. Johnny Depp in 1995, I can't see that at all.
But he was still like, he was very steeped into that Tim Burton kind of roles and stuff. I don't know, couldn't see him do that, and he was too big of an actor as well. He was blowing up. So,
and the one that raised my eyebrow the most, Tom Cruise.
Again, like, would he do a bit? Like you'd want him to be the main star, though. It's like, I understand, like,
Well, I understand wanting to get him, but he's like a major A-list Hollywood star at this point, like major. And I feel like even if you casted him, you'd have to get an extra $10 million on the budget to pay him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude was making like $10 to $20 million a movie around this time. Like, he was legit like A-lister, So
I think when they say considered, it doesn't it means just like it doesn't mean that it goes like much. It's just like if I'm like, oh okay, I'm making a movie. Who would I want in this role? What about this person? Nah. It's like, that's considered. That's like a very 2-second conversation.
Right. Well, like some producers note of like, hey, would you consider Tom Cruise? And like, okay, we considered it, and he cost too much. You know what I mean? He would be half the budget of this movie. We'll be getting Tom Cruise because even around this time, I mean, look at his. If you actually look at his filmography at this time, I mean, dude was, when he was coming off of, we just talked about him in A Few Good Men, right? So he's there. This is a year before Mission Impossible. He had just done Interview with the Vampire. He's in The Firm. I mean, he's making like big movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think even if you had a conversation with him, he'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do this video game movie in the middle of all this stuff. You know what I mean? I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. Like, just I think it'd be too distracting.
Yeah. So anyways, those are kind of our we get Sonya. She's a cop. She's going after Kano, who's sort of an underground sort of gangster type of guy, just going after him most of the movie. That's kind of her motivation. By the way, the guy playing Kano in this movie is Trevor Goddard, who's a British actor. It's not an Australian guy, unfortunately. Like what was it, Josh Lawson in the newer movie? Yeah. Although I do think the guy in this movie, I do think Trevor's pretty good in this movie. He's all right. I like him enough. I like him enough of just him always doing his "Hi, baby," got something for you. That sort of, like, he's okay. He's all right. But I think Josh Lawson kind of owned that one. Yeah, when he did that one. So I think that one's at least a step up. But yeah, we get that's kind of her motivation. She's running around trying to catch Kano, and we get Christopher Lambert as Raiden again, doing his. It feels like most of his lines are ADR'd. It does feel like because he's kind of doing this, almost whispering all of his lines, sort of a thing. The fate of billions is in your hands. Sort of thing.
That was my feeling sometimes with the lines too. I had to check sometimes when even. Liu Kang talking. I'm like, is this dialogue dubbed? No, but it was just sometimes it was out of step, like with his mouth.
Grandfather, he's just a beggar. I'm just like,
just feels like sometimes it was recorded after the fact, and just out of sync with the actual his actual like speech pattern. The actual the mouth there. I'm like, This is weird. Anyway.
Yeah, so they all get kind of through one, scenario or another. They all end up in Hong Kong, ready to get on this boat to go to the tournament. Johnny Cage has a motivation where his Shang Tsung, pretending to be his old master and mentor, coaxes him into getting in the tournament. Sonya follows Kano to the boat, and Liu Kang's going there kind of under his own, free will on a quest of vengeance. And yeah, they all get on this ridiculous boat that looks like a giant dragon, looks like some Viking ship that turned into a dragon. It's like, I love to be one of the dock workers at the dock there and just be like, just working on the dock, moving stuff around, whatever it is, some shipping boat, and all of a sudden out of this mist, this giant dragon boat.
You'd be like, holy shit!
Holy shit! What the hell is that? Yeah,
wait, we're not in Scotland, but what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck is that? So, yeah. Hey, you're standing. Which boat do we get on for the Mortal Kombat tournament? Oh, yeah, I think it's that.
I think I know, but gee, I wish someone would have kind of thrown ahead and warned me about that shit.
Yeah, get on a literal ghost ship or something. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they get on the boat. Shang Tsung is kind of trying to attack them a little bit here and there before the tournament, which Raiden's not happy about. Yeah, we get our first glimpses of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, who are both kind of under control of Shang Tsung. Both Scorpions. What's that?
I can't remember if Scorpion or Shang Tsung, but one of the guys that plays one I can't remember, but that guy ends up working for WWE as like a backstage guy. He's actually in Beyond the Mat. He's like the main guy. He's like patching up Mick Foley at the end.
Oh, okay. I know. I've got Chris Casamassa plays Scorpion in this one. He was pretty much a real life ninja martial arts guy, and so was Francois Petit, who was a real. Yeah, Francois Petit, plays Sub-Zero. He was a legit real fighter too, as well. I think they even said he was the most skilled guy on the set. So much so that I think one or the other of them gets to play Sub-Zero without the mask on in Annihilation. It's the same guy. So he actually got to have kind of a speaking role, and that's when they do kind of the other version of Sub-Zero, the one with the scar on his face from MK3. So, but yeah, and Keith Cook, who plays Reptile, also. Was a legit martial artist. So again, credit to them. They get a lot of legit martial arts dudes, playing these guys, and it looks it on screen. They do a good job.
But yeah, if you go back and watch Beyond the Mat, he's all after the I Quit match, he's the one patching Foley up, and it's like, I recognize it, dude. I don't know if he actually how often he worked there, but yeah, he worked there then.
So and then apparently Jax was supposed to have a bigger role in this movie, but the guy who was going to play him passed away, and so they were left scrambling to kind of find a replacement. So unfortunately, that never really happened. So the guy they got in the movie was just kind of a guy they got last minute just to do the one quick part, where he shows up, and then they got the guy who eventually became, the guy who plays him in Annihilation is the dude who was also Saber on American Gladiators, which I didn't put together immediately until I saw the American Gladiators documentary on Netflix. They did that 3-part thing or whatever it was on Netflix, and I was like, "Holy shit, it's Jax from Annihilation!" That's right. This is the big dude. So, and then. Michael Jai White eventually played him in Mortal Kombat Legacy, that sort of web series they turned into.
Web series,
they turned into.
Did you play Jax is one of the only guys to get his own spin-off game? Did you ever play the spin-off game?
Him and Sub-Zero both had their own games, but I don't think I ever played that one with Jax. It was bad.
They weren't really reviewed well. Yeah.
The Sub-Zero one was terrible. That game was awful. That side-scrolling game, that game was the shits. The game was really, really bad, and hard as shit. The game was super hard too. But yeah, no, I did not like either one of those. And one other quick casting note: Kevin Michael Richardson, who's a pretty famous voice actor, voices Goro. Yeah, he did voice on Family Guy, Cleveland Show, The Simpsons. He's done a ton of stuff, and he actually did get to voice Goro again in one of those the Scorpion's Revenge, the animated movie. So he actually got to do it again. Yeah. So he actually got to voice him again. So he does the uncredited voice of him, by the way. Yeah, so and they go to this island, and again, full credit. Most of this movie, man, I was really noticing this time, Richie. The set design on this movie really good. Like the set designs are great. Yeah, all the sets. There's always like torches with fire everywhere, and all the skulls, and all these crazy like these main kind of areas. They filmed a lot of outside shots of this real actual like Buddhist temple in Thailand. Is this all in Thailand? Where they kind of did a lot of the stuff. A lot of the islands, of the beaches are all these Thailand beaches. This remote island they filmed there that they could only get to by boat. But yeah, like the set design is great for a lot of the stuff. Yeah, the stuff in the main dining hall, the sets where Goro has his fights. I really like the Scorpion set when Johnny Cage fights Scorpion. That's a cool set, with kind of this hell dimension, with all these rags everywhere and the skeletons everywhere and the fire. Like pretty cool shit, and it's all real, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really. There's not much. We're sort of talking around the movie because there's not much of a
it's not much of a story here. Look, he gets in there.
It plays out. It plays out like the game where it's just like dialogue, and then it leads you go into an area, you see the cool thing, and it leads to a fight, and then fight, and then dialogue fight, and then
here's another fight. Here's another fight. Here's another fight. Like, I mean, literally, like. There's literally a thing in this movie where it doesn't Sonya fight Kano, and then literally they just cut to that random woods thing where Johnny Cage is just walking around, and then he has to fight with Scorpion. Like there's no setup to why Johnny Cage is walking in like that forest with all the random trees. He's just all of a sudden we cut to him and he's wandering around the woods, and then Scorpion finds him and they had a fight. Yeah, I mean there's no setup to it really. Yeah,
what were you doing prior to that? Just go, I just wanted to.
Liu Kang's walking around, that dining hall area, and Sub-Zero just jumps out of nowhere, and they have their fight. You know what I mean? It's not much like
all these. What were you gonna do if you didn't? So, no, I was just gonna, get a bite to eat.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the fights, don't have a lot of setup. The only one that kind of does is, and oddly enough, they give it a lot of time. Is poor Art Lean, the random guy we made for. Hey, give him credit, Richie. They introduce a new character that's not in the games. This Art character, right? But at least he's not like Cole in the new one where he's like the main character.
Like a main with the main centerpiece of the
No, he's just like a cannon fodder for like Goro to have an extended fight. You know what I mean? To show what he can do, like essentially, and then show how dangerous he is as because he starts beating up everybody. They have like a mini montage of Goro just throwing people left and right, killing everybody, and then he has this fight with Art where Art just gets his ass completely handed to him, like handily. And it for some reason Sonya's really invested in Art Lean. She's like screaming, "Oh no, no!" I was like, you barely even knew the dude, man. You met the guy 2 days ago. I'm like, what? Okay. Even Johnny like barely met the guy on the dock. He was like, "Hey, I saw you fight in London. You were great." That's it. That's all we ever see him. And he goes down. I mean that's Johnny's only real reason for like then kind of challenging Goro, because he says eventually we're gonna have to fight him anyway, so why not now? I will say I think I like Johnny's fights and setups the most in this movie, at least for some of my favorite scenes, because I legit think his fight with Scorpion might be the best one in the movie, just the best like choreographed sort of hand-to-hand fight, again with the set. I think is cool. The way he takes him down by like using like the saw blade to like cut him up is pretty awesome. And the actual fight with Goro, while it's not a drawn out fight, I just like kind of the way it plays out with him just, standing there, with the sunglasses, ready to fight him. Goro crushes the sunglasses. He does the split nut punch, hits him. You imbecile. And then, he does the whole, like, those are $500 sunglasses, asshole. And kicks him off the cliff, so I at least, it's entertaining. So I at least appreciate that.
I tend to agree. There's definitely more invested fights in the film for me, for sure, as well. I mean, like as much as I like the Liu Kang fight, I think it's just because maybe more invested in Johnny Cage as a character as well. And and the way he's set up is just that's why I was sort of more locked into his arc and his fights as opposed to anybody else. But still a bump with everyone else. But I was always more kind of invested in his journey.
No, for sure. No, I mean Lou Robin Shue is a solid fighter. Yeah, he's a couple of good fights. His fight with Sub-Zero is decent, for as long as it lasts. And the fight with Reptile is pretty good. The fight with Reptile is a lot of fun, and you got to kind of see him, get unleashed a little bit. It's funny because it's once they get to Outworld that they actually start busting out sort of the special moves, if you will. Maybe their physics work a little different there because that's when he finally is able to bust out the bicycle kick and the fireball and whatnot. Johnny Cage, they do give him a bit of a shadow kick almost. Close. He starts to do the shadow kick. He hits it, and then he gets like sucked into the little portal or whatever. We have to say, the CGI that they do use in this movie is pretty bad when they do use it. Scorpion's like his live chains. It's usually just chains, but it's like they're alive. They're little monsters.
They're sentient for some reason. Like sentient. They're sentient for a reason. But it's weird. And then when Shang Tsung or whatever kidnaps Sonya Blade and goes into the Shadow Realm, that looks kind of shit.
The little blob they go into is pretty bad. And I think the worst thing though is Lizard Reptile is really bad. Like the little the CGI reptile, every time they use him, because it's badly colored too. It's like a weird like green and red and yellow. It's really bad for the most part. Not very good.
As a comparison to it, when they obviously in Annihilation, they bring in they bring in Cyrus and all that, and I like Cyrus and the robots,
Cyrax,
the red and the yellow robots, the Smoke and Cyrus and something. They're cool, but the CGI on them is like oh my god, this makes it Mortal Kombat 1 look fantastic. Like while the CGI is not great, I will appreciate it over the 1998, which should be further advanced, but it's not. Holy crap!
Not good. Not good at all. Really bad. It looks like video game CGI. There's a worse one. I'm trying to get a JPEG of it. There's even worse, like close up. These are all WebPs. Damn it. I'm trying to find one that's not a WebP. Hang on. If I can get one, I'll pull it up. Okay, this one should work. Let me pull this one up. Yeah, it's like the Spawn CGI. If you ever see this, the CGI in that movie in the 97 Spawn from Hell, really bad. Looks like a PS1 game. That's the worst. Really, really bad. Around 95. Yeah. So not good. Not good.
That looks nightmare fuel. That's not in a good way, not in the way they were wanting it to be. So I mean, again, we get all these kind of fights. Again, there's not a whole lot of story to this movie. Kitana's in this movie, kinda. She doesn't have a lot to do. She has more of a role in the sequel, even though she's really bad. Whoever plays in the sequel is really bad.
Well, it's still the same actress. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they wanted to give her more lines, and then unfortunately that just didn't work out. Maybe it was better off that she didn't have that many lines in this first movie. Lisa Soto is not the greatest actress. She's very pretty, but she's not the greatest actress. So not good overall. With her. She doesn't have much to do. She just gives some words of wisdom here and there. She's just kind of there. But again, Shang Tsung, kind of tries to fight Sonya for the final battle, tries to challenge her. They kind of talk him out of, call him a coward, you don't want to fight him. And Liu Kang eventually steps up and fights him. And him and Shang Tsung's fight's pretty good. For a final battle as well. I like that they even brought in the kind of spikes that come up for the ground, the final kill on Shang Tsung as kind of a, a fall down the thing onto the spikes, sort of like the stage fatality that you get in some of the games, where they go off the edge, down to the spikes. Works. He busts out the fireball.
Oh, the ring out. Yeah, the ring out thing. Yeah, we could do it.
Yeah.
I think I would do that all the time. And like the Unreal Tournament or whatever it was called. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Very cheap ways. Or sometimes I'd ask myself, I'm like, oh shit, went too far.
There was what was it, Mortal Kombat? Was it Mortal Kombat Deception that had like a whole bunch of stage fatalities where literally there was stage fatalities all around you, and every one of the sets, like if you got to the edge, you could knock them off into like a lava pit or knock them off into like a rock grinder or knock them off into like the crushers or whatever. There would be some that were just way up in the sky, and you knock them off, they go flying off into the sky like into a portal and break up. Yeah. No, I mean they really amped it up in that one. Yeah, Tekken had a few of those where you could break through the walls and stuff into another area, things like that, or break through the ceiling, that kind of stuff. But I think Mortal Kombat was one of the original ones. Even was it in the second game where you could do the uppercut and uppercut them into through the ceiling into another area, or do the the fatality where they go into the acid pit, or they go off the bridge or whatever. They did some cool stuff back in the day with that.
Yeah. I know in Injustice you do it all the time. Like Superman, you could spear him and then go into another area, and then into another chapter. So, but it's it's cool. But I like the spikes and stuff. That was good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Eventually, again, there's not much to the story. Liu eventually, gets his revenge. Shang Tsung tries to trick him by pretending to be his brother, to kind of lower his defenses, but no, he doesn't fall for it. He gets pissed off, and he eventually beats him. Yeah, and releases kind of all the souls of. Thank God, Art Ling got his soul released. I was worried about him, when Shang Tsung took his soul. So thank God he'll be okay. His brother goes on. His brother, by the way, the guy who plays him, his name is Stephen Cho, I believe, or Stephen Ho, excuse me. And he's a guy who used to go on Conan all the time, on Conan's show, and show him different stunt techniques. Yeah. He used to do all these.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah. He used to go on Conan all the time and show him different stunt choreography and how to do certain things. It's the same guy. He just went on to be kind of a fight choreographer and a stuntman. So good for him. That's where when I pulled up his picture, I was like, I know that guy. That's the Conan guy. So he's a bit part in this movie, but goes on to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Liu Kang does a move that I would always spam in the game. Where he's he's flying. He does those bicycle kicks.
Yeah. I would always do the straight across kick, the fast side kick. The whoa! Well, I used to do that because I was the only one I knew how to do in the arcade. So that was the one I used to do. I knew how to do that in the fireball. I never knew how to do any of the fatalities. I knew how to do some of the.
I couldn't for life. I probably still couldn't do fatalities. And you'd open the menu okay, you do. Go there.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there going,
dun, dun, dun. They do bust out a few of the special moves that they can do. Again, enough to where they can't do the full fatalities because it's not a rated R movie. So it is what it is. I know that was what everybody was excited for when they did the new the movie in 2021 where they actually did fatalities and had some blood in there. And I imagine we're going to get more of them in the sequel because I'm sure the sequel will be rated R movie as well, and they'll get it into the actual tournament. The end of this movie, they kind of everybody's hanging out, everything's looking all hunky-dory. We won, and they tease Shao Kahn at the end. The sky gets dark, and to be fair, this final minute is a pretty fucking cool minute. It's a great ending to the movie. They got you hyped, because I've watched it a couple times online even after I finished the movie, where the sky gets dark, the Shao Kahn comes out, you fools, I'll take your souls. And yeah, Raiden just lights up, with the electricity and just goes, I don't think so. And then they all pose, sideways, like in the fighting poses. And Mortal Kombat. Dun, dun, dun. And you're just like, fuck yeah, let's get to that sequel.
Yeah.
And then we got to the sequel.
Yeah. They can't do no wrong with that sequel.
That sequel is going to be awesome. They're going to fight Shao Kahn. They're going to be all together. They're going to bring in some more characters. It's going to be great. Oh, and it was a whole. It was a whole. Oh, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
The whole there's like documentary style videos you can watch of what went wrong there. I actually I wouldn't hate talking about that, but shut up.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. Wolfman and I, when the new one comes out here in May, because we were going to do it back in last October, I think we were already supposed to have Mortal Kombat 2. Remember, it got delayed this year. But yeah, when it comes out in May, we're gonna do our monthly mistake to Annihilation. So to tie in with that, because that's definitely a drinking game worthy movie. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched it all the way through, but I've watched scenes here and there, and yeah, it's a rough movie to get through really bad. The only good thing about it is if you just listen to, again, the soundtrack alone is still pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some bangers on it, but yeah, that's about it. And they're just like, hey, how many characters do you want in this movie? Yes. All of them. Even the ones we don't give a shit about, like Ermac. Like
I think Mortal Kombat was the first game too where a band literally wrote a song for the game. Like that Mortal Kombat did, the Alliance that band Edema had they wrote a song called Immortal, which goes off as well. You can't kill me, I'm immortal. And did the Alliances one that were like it was interesting because you could you unlock stuff that were in coffins and you could unlock the video clips of that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting, but there's a ton of Mortal Kombat lore. It's fun. You could unlock a Scorpion's cooking show.
I do like they throw a few Easter eggs in this movie. They do throw in Johnny Cage's like friendship move where he throws the autograph picture. I do like to at least throw that in there at the end of the Scorpion fight. There's a few little nods here and there. Yeah, they got away with what they could, for the most
I want to see some babality in this new
babality. You might get one in this new movie that they might be just silly enough to do one. I don't know. Because I know Annihilation kind of dabbled in the animality thing, at least, where the final fight is a really bad CGI thing between like Liu Kang Dragon and whatever Shao Kahn is. If you remember, it's like it ends up being like a bad like CGI monster fight. So I mean, so they at least dabbled in that in the sequel. But yeah, I don't know about the babality thing. We'll see if somebody might get turned into one as like a joke for a second or something, and maybe they turn them back. I could see maybe doing like a nod to it, but not doing it for real. So we'll see. Just a little bit about there was going to be a third movie, and I remember seeing articles for this around the time, like in the late 2000s. They were trying to develop, I think it was going to be called Mortal Kombat Devastation. And from what I remember, you can look up articles about this, like about, it almost happening. They were going to bring back Lyndon Ashby. They were going to bring back Chris Casamassa, the Scorpion guy. Like they had each talked about at the time, how they were like getting ready to do it, and they were trying to, put it together, and it just like never happened for whatever reason. So, I mean, I think they could have done one. I think, Richie, there'd been enough time since Annihilation that if you had done another one, you could have like redeemed it, if they had like the right director, and the right script and stuff, and kind of redeemed, the series to a degree. Because it's not like the popularity of the game went away or anything like that. I mean, around that time was when they started doing the ones for like the PS3 and the PS4. They were still cranking out games, so it's not like it ever went away. You could have done it.
I remember because Australia used to be really shit with with gaming ratings, so that the games would be banned all the time for some reason. But so I went to New Zealand and Mortal Kombat was there, and it was banned at the time. And I bought it, so I'm like, if I bring it over to Australia, am I? Is that going to be confiscated? Am I committing a crime? So that was fun. That was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see them doing it, but I think like it's one of those things where I don't know if like I don't even know if Mortal Kombat or Tekken or even Street Fighter will die at this point. There'll be there'll be some sort of legacy. We'll probably 10 years from now we'll probably be in the same position where there'll be another Mortal Kombat reboot, another Street Fighter reboot, maybe another Tekken movie that they haven't really given that too much of a look at. Even the Tekken movies haven't been great, but you could try again. So maybe another Dead or Alive movie. Maybe they did Dead or Alive volleyball. No. So yeah, I think that those are like franchises that stay at this time. So yeah, I could there's no like wrong time to do them, I guess. So
yeah. So from what I can tell, just from a quick, because there is kind of some stuff at the end of the Mortal Kombat Annihilation Wikipedia page about the sequel that never happened. Around the mid 2000s, around 2005, they already had some like shooting locations, and they were kind of getting ready to start doing some pre-production stuff, and it was in New Orleans, and then Hurricane Katrina happened, that famous hurricane that like kind of wiped up New Orleans for a while and killed a lot of that. So that delayed a lot of the things. There was a lawsuit from a producer suing Midway, so there was some kind of Midway, Mortal Kombat lawsuit. And then what happened was, in the Warner Brothers, which then purchased New Line Cinema, and in getting New Line Cinema also got like Midway and some of their assets. So they kind of, Warner Brothers then sort of owned Mortal Kombat, and then they just like kind of canned it and never happened. So it just never got out of development hell. So there was still hope for it even after the 05 hurricane stuff, and it just never went anywhere, unfortunately. But I do remember seeing articles at the time being like, oh, they're going to try to, do another one. And I was okay with that. And it just never happened. And then obviously, we got this new one eventually. And even that one, it's kind of crazy, almost, production hell, because they're making this movie and then COVID hits, and they can't, they end up doing they did put it out in theaters, but it was when, theaters, only about a quarter of them were open at the time,
They were doing like they're opening here, but it was like a soft, I guess it was like a soft reopening, trying to do a soft reopening. So it was one of those things where you could watch it in the theater, but you could also watch it on HBO Max. So
it dropped on HBO Max the same day, because I remember watching it the day of on HBO Max. I do remember watching that. So I didn't get a chance to, and I think my theater wasn't even playing it. I think they only had like a couple of screens open. It was very limited. They were making everybody kind of sit apart, so it was kind of limited show times, limited attendance, all kinds of stuff like that. And then eventually, when they opened back up, it was already out of theater. So I ended up just watching it on HBO. And I remember it being like, that movie's all right. I'm gonna rewatch it before this new one comes out. I remember it being decent. Like, I remember liking the cast for the most part. Being kind of miffed at the whole Cole thing, like introducing a new character that's not in the games that we don't need. You got all these characters from the games, and you introduce a new one that nobody cares about. I didn't understand that, but from what I could tell, Richie, tell me if you get the same vibe. Cole ain't in that trailer for the second one, and apparently the dude is in the cast list, but like, I have a feeling Homeboy gets offed like very quickly in that movie.
He either gets offed, or he gets like Jar Jar from like, how in episode 2 he's like Jar Jar.
Yeah, he might just be in the background, or he gets left behind in Earth, where they're like, well, we were going to get you, but we got Johnny Cage instead. So we're just going to go with him. So I think he's going to be in the movie, but it might just be like a scene or two. I don't know. To me, if he had a part in the movie, he would have been in the trailer, and he's not there at all. It seems like they're just like, no, we're going to pivot to Johnny Cage and just work well with that. You know what? And you know what? That's the correct decision.
That's fine. No one cares about no one wants to see a character you created like in a main role. Like, you can do a thing like art where you can create him where he has like no consequence, more consequence to the thing. That's fine. But when it's the main character, no.
We don't want this guy. We don't want him in this movie. So I'm trying to see, like, I'm even on the Wikipedia page for Mortal Kombat 2, I think the guy's in the movie, but he's not even on the casting page. Is he even in it? He's got to
Wow.
be though, right? He has to
Maybe.
be. Is he
You
not?
think so? He doesn't. He doesn't eat it in the first one, so I don't know. Maybe
It's Louis Tan. So let's
Yeah.
see if he's credited in this new one. It says he's in it on his Wikipedia page. It says Mortal Kombat 2 Cole Young. But
Yeah.
man, if you go to the actual Mortal Kombat 2 like page and you go to the cast and it's got everybody listed there, okay, he is there, but
he's not.
okay, he's there, but he's
No,
I'm not seeing anything about the story that concerns him. He's not in the marketing. I don't know, man. I have a feeling that dude gets fatality like at the first act of that movie. you know what I mean? Like maybe Homeboy fights, I don't know, somebody big time, in the first part, and he just gets his head chopped off. Yeah. Maybe he fights Shao Kahn and just gets a hammer to the head. Who knows? Yeah. Because it definitely seems like the movie's going to be centered on like Cage and Liu Kang and like our main guys, you know what I mean, for sure. So
Yeah.
and Scorpion and whatnot. So hey, Josh Lawson's back, so that's cool.
Yeah.
They've got Sony's there. I mean, it looks like who's playing? Let's see. Angus Sampson's doing the voice of Goro, so that's cool.
He's a good
Who's playing Shao Kahn? Yeah, it wasn't like a real guy who's like gigantic or something, or is he CGI? I can't tell. Let's look that up because I was curious. Come on, who's playing Shao Kahn? Let's see. In Mortal Kombat 2, let's see. I can't tell who's playing him. Weird.
Okay. He is the main villain in that movie, right?
I think he's the main villain because he's in the trailer. He's there. So it says British bodybuilder and actor Martin Ford is playing Shao Kahn. I don't know if he's voicing him, but he's playing him. But it says he's a giant dude. Holy shit. Okay, so he's a big giant guy. He's he's a massive dude. Martin with a YN, by the way. So let me see. Let me get this guy set. Martin Ford. Let's see. Oh my god, this guy's a monster. He's 43 years old. He's 6'8", so that's good. So he's a monster. He's done other like fighting movies. He's in Boyka Undisputed. He's in Red Sonja, that recent movie. He's in F9. He was in The Machine. So maybe played like one of those like henchmen in The Machine, the Burt Kreischer movie. He's a big bodybuilder, social media. He kind of looks like Nathan Jones, actually, if you see a picture of him, Richie. Kind of got a similar look to him, but he's British, so he's a big Nathan Jones looking dude. You know what? Cool. He needs to be a giant monster. So yeah, I'm down.
If this was if we also in WWE Vince's era, he would look at that movie and go, "Can he wrestle? Yeah, we're gonna get."
JPO might have seen him because he's in the Marine 6 Close Quarters with Shawn Michaels and The Miz.
There's a Becky Lynch.
Yeah. He's in Final Score, a movie with Dave Bautista in it. So
I think that's what got Dave Bautista and Pierce Brosnan involved.
Pierce Brosnan, yeah. So he's never really had any big roles, but he's been in stuff. So and he's a big giant dude. So hey, fair enough. So hey, cool. Good casting, man. Yeah, because I remember Brian Thompson played him in Annihilation, and I like Brian Thompson as a character actor, but yeah, he's really bad in Annihilation. He's quite bad. It has begun. Yeah, not good.
Oh, he's in a haunted house. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, so so we'll see how Mortal Kombat 2 plays out. I'm still excited for it. It looks like fun. I think they had mostly the right ideas for the first one, other than Cole. So if they fix that problem and focus more on the primary characters, I think we'll be good. They'll bring the blood, they'll bring that. I think that and Street Fighter both look fun. I think Street Fighter could be really goofy and silly too. It could be a good time.
I like how in the trailer of the Street Fighter one, they even had the bonus game where you hit the car.
Yeah, they had a dude beating up a car briefly in the trailer. So yeah, I think that again, it looks to me like they know what kind of movie they're making. So that gives me hope that they're going to lean into it, which I'm cool with. Make it over the top. It's a video game. Have fun. Do your thing. Don't make it too serious. So yeah, let's start wrapping it up there. Richie, your overall thoughts on 95's Mortal Kombat and Cary Tagawa and the whole shebang, man.
Yeah, it still holds up being a lot of fun. If you don't take it seriously as like an actual like pop movie, like it's like if I don't know, I think some people if they go, oh, that movie sucks, it's like, well, yeah, but it's good. It sucks, but it's good. I don't know if that makes sense, but you just gotta kind of go into it with like into the idea that it is corny, but it works, especially the time period, and like some of the stuff in it, like the sets and stuff, still holds up. And I think it's still like well directed film, and it's just very entertaining. And I still really enjoy my rewatch. So yeah.
I was pulling up a picture of Martin for you to see because, oh my God, this guy's enormous. He's so perfect for this. I mean, again, I'm glad that the filmmakers know what they're doing. He's the guy on the right, obviously. Jesus Christ.
Oh shit! He looks like he looks like if they blew up the Rock.
Yeah, I know. Hey. Again, Shao Kahn's supposed to be, and even in the games, he's like taller and bigger than everybody. So you know what? Bring it on. I'm in. And have him have a giant hammer, just like in the game. I'm down. So hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I like it. Yeah. Are there any pictures of him on set? Oh my God. There's a picture of him on set. Okay. So he's got kind of the mask thing, but then there's also points where he has it off. Let me see. Damn, it's a web piece. Son of a bitch.
If he went for a job as a bouncer, you would take one and book with him. It's like, yep, you start tomorrow.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'm not starting trouble in here at all. Yeah, 100%. So, anyways, you go look it up. Look up Martin Ford, Shao Kahn. They've got a couple of set pictures of him. But yeah, he's massive. So, anyways, back to this movie. No, this movie's a ton of fun, and I think again, just like you said, if you go into it with the right mindset, knowing we're going to watch a video game movie, I think it's perfectly entertaining. It's breezy. It's not too long. It's like 90 minutes. They get in and out. There's a fight every 5 minutes, so you don't have to wait long. Like there's some corny dialogue, yes, here and there, but again, I think it's just because they're just trying to get from set piece to set piece. Is a very thin story. They get them on this island, and all of them have various fights. You know what I mean? Like it's, and then there's a guy named Shang Tsung. We got to fight at the end. Okay, cool. And everybody has their own little fights. Yeah, there's some literally have no setup whatsoever. They're just walking around, and we start a fight. Okay, fine. But you come to a movie like that, that's what you're there for. You're there for the fighting, you're there for the Easter eggs, you're there for the catchphrases, you're there for the one-liners, and I'm totally fine with that. I've seen this movie many, many, many times. But yeah, the soundtrack still kicks ass. The fighting is actually decent, it's pretty good. And yeah, you get what you came for. You get a fun villain. Cary Tagawa was awesome. He rules in this movie. So if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. At least watch it for him. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up there because we're gonna head off and talk some wrestling here in a few minutes and get things going. But Richie, anything you want to throw out there before we get out of here tonight?
Yeah, I think just talking wrestling here soon with quite a bit of news actually, but it's up to that and and then check that out, and then. Other than that, like horror do stuff on there. I'm going to be on a panel on Saturday with Aaron Canal, just talking movies and stuff like that. So check that out.
He hit me up to do that as well. We're going to do that later in the month because I'm just too busy over the next 2 weeks. I got way too much stuff going on, so I just couldn't fit anything in. We're doing the same thing, just yapping about movies, so that should be fun. Should be all right.
Yeah, so that should be fun, and all good. That's pretty much it. And next week, next time next time will the movies or
maybe we can actually spin the wheel. Yeah. So we'll see.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, so no, that should be good. We'll get back to spinning the wheel until we need to do an emergency one again. Well, hopefully we'll be few and far between.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, no, and we'll probably try to do that tomorrow night. We got a short mystery show tomorrow night, so yeah, I should be able to get Jordan to spin that wheel. And Richie trusts my judgment about the movies we can watch and do shows out of, so it's all good there. Yeah, we've had some fun ones. So yeah, we'll do that in about 2 weeks from now. It looks to be on the 29th. Yeah, I've got a busy week coming up. Yeah, we've got all the stuff we have on the Movie Hero Network. We'll be continuing our end of the year festivities. We have our honorable mention roundtable coming up on Sunday. Got a panel for that. That'll just be kind of a discussion of the movies we really like that didn't make our top 12, the movies we want to shout out, give some more love to. So that'll be on Sunday. And then we've got our full-on tournament next week, our 3-parter for the 2025 series. So 128 movies all from 2025, talking that, and we'll see what wins those tournaments. And then, yeah, I've got, like I said, with Wolfman, we're doing our horror wrap-up show, so we're talking about all the horror movies of 2025, kind of from worst to best, yapping about those, and then doing our monthly mistake right after. We're doing a double duty that night, and we always do a 3D movie in January, so we're doing Texas Chainsaw 3D with Alexander Daddario from 2013. So do your thing, cuz we'll be drinking. So
40 something in that movie, but
yeah, who's supposed to be like 45 according to the timeline of that movie, and definitely isn't. So yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. And then Richie will be back on the channel 2 Sundays from now, doing our best of 2025 top 12. So we'll be wrapping it up and seeing what makes everybody's top 12 for the year. So that's what we got going on. Should be a very busy week, but a very fun one as we kind of round off our festivities for 2025. So thank you everybody for joining us here to talk about Mortal Kombat and the franchise and the video game and the movie and the future of the franchise and everything like that. Really appreciate it. Join us over on the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast. I'll link it in the Movie Hero Network Facebook group here momentarily if you need a link to our channel for that. We'll be talking some wrestling, catching up on the news, doing our first scores from our first fantasy of WWE this week, which I have the scores for and got it all that caught up. So it was a very interesting one as far as that goes. And then Richie and I, before JPO joins, we'll be talking about the Royal Rumble from 1991. So not a bad show, actually. Pretty decent. We'll talk about it. So but we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast. So thank you as always, Richie, for joining me. I am Austin Pez Howell, and we'll see you guys next time on The Wheel of Movies. Bye.